Hello, everyone. How is it going? It's great to see you here. Hello, everyone. I'm Emmy, and this is Godot Tomorrow, a stream in which we go through some of the news of what we're working on, what Godot is doing, and what the community is doing as well. Last week it was a very short stream that I had to do, but I'm happy to be back. From now onwards, I want to do on Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays. So you can expect it every Wednesday at 5 p.m. unless there is some conference or anything that I need to attend or any release that we have to do. So I will go. Yes, TV works. It's great to have it back live. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I did the usual, like, just I didn't turn it on for a day and then I turned it on again and it works. So, fine by me. Hello, Rafa. Hello, everyone. Okay, we're gonna give it just a few more seconds before we jump in. But yeah, those games that you see there are all Godot games that have been featured in showreels before. We have one showreel ongoing right now, and you should all submit. I will make another reminder later during the stream if I remember. But yeah. Okay, I guess let's get it started, right? So last week I was very busy with the release of the page of the Godot 4.5, but also after that just had to run to Amsterdam to go to the Blender conference. It was great. The people there were great. Everybody I met was awesome. Big difference between last year and this year is that last year a lot of people didn't know about Godot. This year everybody knew about Godot, and I guess you can imagine why. But it was a nice change to see, especially most of the people who are doing Blender stuff are not specifically game developers. So it's normal that they might not be into game development at all. But there was this very lovely talk by Andy, Julian, and Simon from the Blender Studio team, who have talked a little bit about their experience doing the project Dog Walk, which is a game built by the Blender Studio using the Godot engine. The talk was really good. I really recommend it to go see it. It's on YouTube. You should be able to get it. I will post here a link to it if you're interested in watching it. Yeah, the talk for me, it's an hour now, I see, but for me it felt really short. And yeah, there's many things that they could cover, but it's really interesting to see the process. And if you're interested in knowing more about it, they also did some posts, but they are going to be giving another talk in November in the GodotFest. So yeah, if you are still interested, you should really come to the GodotFest, which is like a GodotCon but organized by the Munich team. And in that conference, they will be giving a talk. They released recently the schedule, and I had it here open. It's a bit tiny. Maybe I can zoom in. This is a preliminary schedule, of course. Things might change, but after the opening remarks, you see that I will be there, giving a Q&A. Basically, I got it tomorrow, but live. Gonna do a very short intro about things that we've been working on, and then happy to answer any of the questions that people have. Talk about the foundation, and the next talk is gonna be the dog walk talk. So yeah, if you're interested also in seeing the rest of the schedule, they posted it on their socials, so make sure to check it out. It's 2 days full of talks, and yeah, looking forward to see as many as them, even if I see them usually like the recording version of it during the conference. I stay busy talking with other people, but yeah, that's something to look forward to. So if you're going, please come say hi. I actually met some people at the Blender conference that was like, "Hey, you're the guy doing the streams in the Godot channel." And it's like, yes, that's me. Okay. One thing that I wanted to mention last week and I couldn't was the new contributing documentation. This is something that was also synchronized with the 4.5 release, which is that now when you're on the website and you click on the chat is not updating on the video. I think it is, right? Anyway, let me know if there's something going on there. But yeah. Now, if you click on the contribute button here, you will see that the documentation is a different one. It's for the how to contribute to Godot itself. So this is not how to make games with Godot, but how to help make Godot happen. And here you have like everything you are interested to know, like from technical contributions to monetary or community contributions, which are also very important. And there's a very good overview about how the processes are, the different sort of things that need to happen. And it's a good way of also understanding how the project works. Everything here, of course, is subject to change. And, there's many things that I feel are a bit lacking, which I will come to it. For instance, on the website, we don't have a lot of documentation yet, but there are for most of it, which it's a huge task that the maintainers did. So yeah, I'm really, really, really happy to see it live, and yeah, Ivor Force has been like a force of nature getting this out, contributing a lot and managing all the people. So really, thank you, Ivor Force, for all this effort and everyone who contributed. For the documentation itself, also Ugo Kalinu, you might know him by the icon there. He wrote a blog post about how the project works on the documentation itself, which is also very interesting because it's something that people don't really think, especially if any of you have worked in an open source project before. You may see that a lot of people are really excited to contribute features but not so excited to document them. And when you are a small group of people working on something, it's good to not have documentation. Maybe the code is clear enough, but when the things start growing and growing, the more documentation you have about everything, the better. And in this case, it's also like all the reference for each of the classes and everything. The infrastructure for hosting all that is quite huge, bigger than you might imagine, especially because it also includes localization and things like that. And this post does a very good job of going through all of those efforts and explaining the different processes. And if you want to contribute, there's a good starting point. It also covers a little bit the splitting of the contributor documentation and the regular documentation, which is what I talked about just now. And also this tracker is quite impressive about how much the documentation has been translated and what the status is. So if you want to contribute something, you can here like filter them by overall, see the different classes that have not maybe got any contributions yet, and maybe give it a go. So yeah, it's quite nice to see it. I've heard many people liking the documentations we have. Also, the addition of the user notes system, basically the comments on it, that I actually have benefited from it already a couple of times when looking for things. So I'm really, really happy to see. This was very popular in the PHP documentation. If you're looking for PHP documentation, you might know that you just go to the page and then you look for the comments, which is where the real stuff is. So yeah, I will leave a link for everyone to read here as well. And as always, I will try to, if I remember, leave all those links in the description of the video for the people who are watching it not live. But let's see. I see the chat moving a bit faster now. When comes 4.6? When it's ready. Not today, but maybe tomorrow. Okay. So see, yeah, on the documentation, I really wanted to go to, this video came out 6 years ago by Mrs. You might know him from games like, well, Throw Flesh. They have very weird names, and Endoparasitic, which are quite popular. And this was basically the entire discourse for the Godot community in 3.1, 3.0, 3.1.
Open source engine. It's pretty cool, but like the documentation is kind of lacking. Yeah, like it's a really cool engine. Waiting for like version 3.1 to be coming out. It seems really cool, but like I mean the documentation's kind of lacking right now. Yeah, it's a pretty nice engine. I don't know if I'd recommend it for beginners yet though, because like the documentation is kind of lacking. Yeah, compared to other engines, like community's not as big, and so like the documentation is kind of lacking. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. It has a lot of potential, but like the documentation is kind of lacking. Yeah, I think really if Godot's gonna compete with other engines like Unity, Unreal, they really need to improve the 3D rendering.
Love the ending, which is basically what we are hearing right now. But the documentation is kind of lacking. I also really, really fun comment. Somebody saw, Mrs. What do you think about Godot's documentation? It's kind of lacking. Um, so basically, what you could see everywhere is that everybody was saying the same, right? Like the documentation was not good enough, and I think that's not the case anymore. Like after so many people contributing and so much effort has been done, like this is not anymore the case. But we do see a lot of the, how would I say, a lot of the discourse around something to be very repetitive. And I do notice that like the community sometimes picks a topic. In this case, it was the documentation back in the day, but then they go on and on and on about this topic, even if maybe that topic is being worked on or maybe it's already fixed, but most of the community don't know it. Like it took a long time for people to actually know that you could make 3D games with Godot. At the beginning, everybody was like, "Yeah, you can make 2D games with it," but you could always make 3D games, even if it was not the best. But um, so yeah, it's nice to see it changing, and I hope that with streams like this one, I can also help sometimes move some conversations forward and also get feedback from everyone, from you, from everyone. Frank get there in the comments saying you can make 3D games with Godot. Yes, yes, there's actually people that are doing that. You might know, but okay. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go too much into the showreel voting again, but just in case, where is it? Let me reopen. Just in case, I want to remind everyone that the showreel is going to be closing next week. On the 1st of October, the submissions close, and we're gonna start voting in October 6th. So if you have a trailer for a game project, doesn't matter if it's a mobile game or like a desktop game or whatever, or a program that you're making with Godot, feel like you should submit it. And if you're lucky and people like it, you will be in the TV here, but most importantly in YouTube. With it's one of the biggest videos we make yearly. Um, if you check on our channel, you will see that the videos have quite a lot of views. Last one has almost 500,000 views, and yeah, the important part here is not to get a lot of views, but to celebrate with the community what they have achieved each year, and also to have for the future something to look back to and see how the evolution was going over the years. I really like going back to them and see how things were in the past. So if you want to be part of Godot history, you should submit something. Um, but yeah, wish there was a way to click a class or whatever in engine and it opens in my browser, like in engine documentation a lot. Okay, that could be an option. I don't see why that couldn't be an option or a plugin. So instead of opening the docs there, you could open it there. So if you don't see it, you can open a proposal. I think it's quite interesting feature. Godot Flash is available. About the Godot Flash, I talked with Makeshift many times. I've been pressuring them like, hey guys, what's going on? They are just waiting for a couple of things until we can do like the second round. So it's coming soon. I wish it was out already, but I'm just waiting on them to make the next move. But yeah, maybe may it be possible in the future to see the submissions of the Godot Showreel before the voting starts? No, but what we are gonna be allowing people to do, which is something I can show right now, which is the sneak peek. If you are a Godot maintainer, that means that you've been contributing to Godot in any capacity for some time, or if you are a donation member of the dev fund, you will be able to participate in this year voting, which right now looks something like this. So this is like a private sneak peek. This is still in development, so nothing you see here is final. But you will be able to see games here and vote with everyone else. This is something that we did usually internally, but we wanted to open to more people. And you will be able to say if you like it, if you don't like it for a show reel, or if you want to skip it. And there's a lot of games. These are all submissions, to see them. So at the end of this process, we'll take the ones that are most voted, some special projects that the foundation wants to highlight if they were not submitted, and one content creator is going to be editing the video, which I think we already have one who volunteered, but I want to confirm before announcing it. And yeah, last year it was edited by Stay at Home Dev. The previous years were edited by me, for instance. Previous year to that, they were edited by Kalinu. So I hope that in the next editions, we're going to get more content creators also contributing that way. Because, you might not know how to code C++ to contribute to Godot code in the engine, but you can help in many other ways if you want to. So, so much English, I don't understand. So I'm from Argentina. Saludos, Barrier Simulator. Hello from Germany. Hello. Yeah, I wish I could do like other streams in other languages. For now, I'm gonna stick to English. But maybe in the future I can also do a Spanish one, which is the other language I can talk enough. But yeah, all right. Let's move to the Q&A. I have a couple of things. Oh, first, I saw this after the release. I don't know if you also seen it. Jan Makes Games posted on Twitter that he was basically complaining about this window that happens whenever you downloaded the new version, and it says like, hey, this might not be safe. Like, do you want to run it? So yeah, Windows Defender not being very, very friendly. And this goes away after a day or so of people opening it and Windows actually noticing and saying like, yes, this software is not a virus or anything like that. But there are ways for us that we could apply for like some sort of validation to not get this pop-up show out every time. But we were denied in the past. It was like a lot of time and investment, and usually it's not a big deal. But we'll see what we can do. I don't think it's that worrisome because people who download it the first days it comes out usually is people who are very motivated about Godot. And if you download it the next day, you shouldn't see this in some time. But we'll see what we can do. At the moment, we opted for doing it the way we always done it, which requires this sort of adjustment period until the binary is actually like approved and says like, yeah, this is not harmful. But yeah, Steam version doesn't have this, of course not, because you're launching it through Steam, things like that. So yeah, I wanted to just mention it and reply to this because I've seen it a couple of times, and I also ask around, and like people like Alinu helped me understand what were the current limitations, but it's not a super high priority. I don't know what you guys think in terms of like this being something we should invest more time and resources in. But yeah, we'll see. It's not ideal. Mac also is really bad at doing this. Every time you want to distribute a game in Mac, yeah. This also happens with exported games. Yes, but unless you run them through Steam and stuff like that. So yeah, which is what most people would do. All right. Do you guys have any questions before I move on to some other topics here? Um, I have this comment, which is a bit long. It was posted on our forum. C# on web. Yes, I also want C# running on web. So hopefully for 4.6, we're going to make it. We'll see. No promises, but that's one of the goals I would like to see achieved soon. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. So Boylin says on the forum, the streams happen at midnight for me. Some reason, yeah, like I'm sorry about the timeline. This is the only moment I can do it in the day. So I have a question. I wonder if you're aware of the GoSend project, a video editor I'm making with Godot, and what you think of Godot being used to make software that don't have to do with game development. So I knew about this. I knew about this video editor, which is actually like an interesting project. I have here the GitHub open, like very nice logo, maybe a bit too detailed, but quite nice. And it's this video editor made with Godot, which is an interesting project to do, especially because there are like I hope that someday a video editor, an open source video editor, gets popular enough so that everybody contributes to that one instead of making a new one. But in this case, I have very like a good feeling about this one, especially because if it's built in Godot, there's a lot of people who can contribute, which usually is the case in the other ones that makes it maybe a little bit less welcoming. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I haven't tried it out myself, but I've seen some of the videos that Voilin posted. So, so yeah, what do you think of Godot being used for making software? I think that's great, and that's one of the first videos that I actually made in my channel before that I got a lot of attention and I got a lot of people like motivated about which is making software. Like I think Godot now is mature enough that you can make a lot of software with it without being a game itself. And now that we also added some accessibility features, it should bridge the gap with many other popular alternatives to do so. And it's less heavy than doing something like an Electron app where you bundle like a web browser in it. So yeah, let me read a little bit more. As far as I know, most software made with Godot that I've seen at least had to do with game development in some way, such as Material Maker, FBG in a Box, Pixelorama. Having found projects like GoSend yet, which makes software which isn't directly related to game development. Yeah, and I think that's normal because most people who are using Godot know about Godot because they want to make games. So if they want to develop an app, it's probably something they want to do as well, something game related. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the stream, last year when I went to the Blender conference, I would say like more than half of the people had no idea about Godot at all because they were not into games, and why would they know about it if they are not so much into open source? Yeah, you can really miss out. So I think that as Godot gets more and more popular, more people are gonna use it for other things as well. But yeah, that wasn't the case this year, of course. But yeah, that's something that happened. Might this bring more video codecs to Godot again? I wish. I think we need a bit more video codecs, but it's I wish once we have the asset store being like the main thing and everybody's using it, somebody will make a proper plugin to enable that for people who need it. But yeah, it's not super fun to use FFmpeg to transform videos to open in Godot. Blender's video editor is pretty capable, yes, and it got some updates. So yeah, I think the heaviest thing you have to ship with that software is the software itself. The UI tools shouldn't be in the way, and Godot is a very good starting point for this. But yeah, going. Off topic maybe a little bit. Okay, what does the Godot Foundation think of the engines used for non-game related applications? Do you know of any other non-game related projects which use Godot? And do you see a possibility for Godot to grow in the development of non-game related software and tools by its users? So usually the philosophy in the foundation regarding this and any other topic is that if there's enough users that need it and are using it, contributing to it, and benefiting from it, it's important to us as well. In this case, if there's people making programs, we should cater to them. It's not the highest priority, of course. The highest priority is still making games, but we've seen that many people prefer it to other solutions. So there's many features that have been added that for games might not be a priority, but still, you might know this game called Window Kill, um, which is one of these happy accidents, I think. So Window Kill is a game that basically uses the feature for the Windows in Godot to have a game in your desktop that you can move around. And this is somewhat related to this topic, right? Like we added this feature not because we thought games will want to add multiple windows, but because programs want to add multiple windows, right? But this game developer said like, "Oh, this looks fun. Let's make a game with it." Um, so I think both things are really intertwined, and the better we make one, the better the other one will come. Um, so so yeah, I think they are connected. But I also see that for people who are making software, like they might have some needs that other people don't have, and we might dedicate some more efforts in the future. I think it would be nice to have a page in the website talking about it and showing some of the examples. Um, but yeah, let's see. Um, Talking about the asset store, how will you handle payment finances in terms of providers, infrastructure? So that's the biggest kind of like the hardest part that we've been dealing with. But basically, what you need is to have a merchant of record, and that's basically the intermediary between the people who are buying the assets and the people who are selling the assets. And out of that transaction, part of it will go to the foundation to cover the costs of development and hosting. But yeah, it's quite tricky. We have a couple of options, but for now we want to first make sure that we replace the old asset library with the new asset store. And once we have all that done, we're gonna start with the payment stuff. The development time is not as critical. The problem will be mostly making sure that the people who are selling are happy with it and the people who are buying are also happy with it. But yeah, it will also require some improvements in the editor itself to load like the assets from the asset store and things like that. But yeah, anyway, thank you, Boylin, for the question. If you don't know, Boylin also has like a YouTube channel with a lot of nice videos, Signal Emitted, which is like similar to what I'm doing here. He's been doing it for longer, as far as I can tell. So yeah, if you are interested in Godot topics, you should go and subscribe there. Let's see, chat a little bit more, and if not, let's see. Godot 4.6 Dev 1 have passive start team? Maybe, yes, I would hope so. I would hope that the first dev will have the theme already. There's many things that need to happen because we need to make sure that the legacy theme, like the classic theme, is also available. And since they have a lot of differences, there's some other options that need to happen. But it's going well. It's going well. Yeah. Has the new rendering contributor you hired already decided on which things they'll tackle first or with a priority? Yes. It's not them who decide. That's something that Clay, the rendering team lead, is assigning to this new person. And at the moment, they are smaller tasks to get them familiarized with the code. And after that, you know, those PRs are done and the new person is more up to speed, there will be more tasks that will be assigned. I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much it's already like settled on. I guess there's a very long list of priorities, but yeah, I also don't want to mention them by name for now because it's been quite recent. So we want to make sure that we are both happy, like them working with us and us working with them, before we can add it on the website and do all that. But if you're interested in that, I can try to, you know, I already talked with some people that want to be on the show. Maybe we can do a day where Clay joins and you can do all the rendering questions and stuff like that. I also would love to have Kalinu on the stream as well. But yeah. Okay, let's continue with this. These are questions that I got on the forum. So yeah, I would like to know if the passive starting will be added, and also if there's also there is a plugin called Asset Drawer. You guys should add that also. These features are essential. Any plans on doing that? So yeah, the passive start theme will be added. That's already being confirmed. And the asset drawer, I was a bit confused by. I found this one, which is asset drawer that basically puts the file system at the bottom of the screen. And that's something that already is in Godot itself. Um, so I guess yes, we're gonna be adding that. It's already there. This was done by Juan, I believe. So now you can move the file system at the bottom. So I don't know if maybe like they are running an older version of it or what. But yeah. Okay, another question. Will Godot start working on AAA soon? Because Godot is just on one step away from being the king of game engines. Well, I wouldn't say that, but okay. I think Godot's 2D is the best right now, and the only thing we need is stronger 3D. I'm not a AAA developer, but maybe the AAA guys need it. Which links back a little bit to the how's it called? The video that I showed from ECCs about the rendering. Honestly, I think we are not focusing on AAA because that's not who our users are. Most of our users are not AAA studios, and it's nice that they use it. It's nice that Battlefield now is using it for the custom tools and stuff like that. But it's not our priority. If we did this, we would be spending a lot of time and resources on developing features for a potential user in the future that might be a multi-million studio, but they also don't have an obligation to donate to us. And what I've learned doing this for some time is that the big companies are not so happy with giving money away. Some of them are quite good. They sponsor us and they give us funds to continue developing this. But a lot of them are, saying like, I have this software, I can use this open source version and I will pay nothing. They use the open source version and they pay nothing. So why would be spending all these resources, time, and effort to chase these studios that at the end of the day are not contributing back to the engine? So if we had infinite money, yes, of course, everything. You want Lumen, you want Nanite, you want all those sort of nice features, why not? But with what we have right now, we want to make sure that the current users that are making games are small studios, maybe from 1 to 10 people is usually what we see. They have the best tools that they can, and that they can make the best games that they can. So yeah, we wrote, well, Juan I think posted, yeah, it was Juan, this what's missing for AAA and Godot, and even if this is already like 2 years old, it already has many of the pain points that the AAA studio might have using Godot. Biggest one, streaming, many other features, version controls. Yeah, like right now you don't have any Perforce kind of integration as far as I know, and you're not gonna be using Git in a studio, AAA studio usually. Many of these we are slowly addressing with time, but it's not because we are trying to chase this, but it's because the community is growing and it's asking us for some of these features. Uh, but yeah, I hope that answers the question a little bit, um, because it's something I've seen quite some time, Scott, many times. And what do we get from getting a AAA studio from using Godot? The validation. Do we need more validation? Like, it's nice, of course, but I feel right now when people think about game engines, they are already thinking about Unity, Unreal, and Godot, and that's fine. I wish there were more options that are not Godot, and so maybe if you're making a specific kind of game, you can choose an engine that's more appropriate to your game, and you don't have to be using this, because also the more kind of uses we want to think for this engine, the harder it will be to maintain, the more things that there will be, to change, improve, and all that. So it will require a bigger commitment from everyone. So yeah, I hope that this answers the question. Let's see. Any chance we get a grid map rework to have it on par with a new time map system? Being able to store data in grid cells would be great, says Grandmax. I think that's something that many people already wanted, and we had a couple of PRs that were um, done in this area, but there isn't still anyone dedicated to it. Would be nice to improve. There isn't anyone working on it at the moment, that I can say. If you have any proposals and you want to share them, that's always nice. And if you share them on social media, you get people to vote to it, and you make a little bit of noise, they usually also get noticed easier. But yeah, I like to see inspector tabs get in Godot by default. Inspector tabs, I really don't know that one. Is that a plugin? Okay. I would like a detailed explanation on audio stream generators and how to create sound effects without any sound effect, but there are no tutorials online. Okay, so when there's no tutorials, that could be two things, right? Like, first of all, maybe the feature is quite new. Just give it some time. On the second option, maybe there's already a plugin or something that people use, and maybe the feature is not as being used by many people. What I used to do when I was making tutorials is try to experiment with the feature. You can open it, you can play around with it. It really, like, you end up discovering many things by trial and error, and then you can make the documentation yourself and contribute it back to everybody else. So a good way of doing this also is by searching on GitHub for the issue in particular, or like the name, in this case, audio stream generators, and see when the feature got added. Usually they come with some description in the PR that explain a little bit how to use it. You can use that as a starting point, and then try to solve the puzzle. It's not an ideal thing, and documentation is kind of lacking, but ideally we'll get there. Then another question by same user, Ruchir, would like to know the requirements, how the community can help Godot. So I said that before, I will say it again. In our website, there's a button at the top called Contribute. When you click on it, it will tell you all the different ways that you can contribute to the project. Here you have it. And yes, how to contribute. You can donate, the technical contributions, the community support, and many other options. Right, let's go back to the chat a little bit more. If Godot 5 is real, what will be the big feature or change we can expect? Well, clearly with Godot 5, we're going to have the new tab, which is 4D, and then you're going to have the fourth dimension, which is the new thing to have. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Of course, I'm joking, but yeah. The biggest problem with Godot and AAA, in my opinion, is that there is no super easy, seamless way for big teams to work on one project at the same time. Yeah, that can be that's part of the puzzle, right? Like, if you have a lot of people contributing to it, you will find many issues in different softwares. But what I know, which is a very limited experience in AAA studios, is that there's also other software that's around the engine, that's not specifically the engine, that needs to be developed anyway. So all the pipeline and everything around the engine itself needs to be done specifically for playing well with Godot. That's something that, for instance, the Blender Studio team had to do to bridge the gap between Blender and Godot. They had to develop some tools for the imports and stuff like that. And that's what bigger studios are able to do. So it's not like everything around the pipeline has to be done or provided by Godot. But yeah, they have very specific needs, and they are usually working, with bigger teams that might be touching different areas with different editors, and not everybody using the same main editor that has everything in it. But yeah. Hello, Gilles. Happy to see you here. Let's see. Even though I am in general against financial incentives, have you explored options to establish some kind of open bounty board? People propose features, plugins, and collect the funding plus devs. Yeah. So this is something that comes up a lot in open source communities. There's a couple of things we don't like, but the the short answer would be that the foundation is the bounty. So let me explain. One of the issues that happens in these sort of projects, especially when you have many people trying to contribute, is that you might have maybe two or three people uh, trying to make a feature to get a bounty. So you will need someone to decide who will get that bounty, and you might be asking three or four or even five people that they are all working on the same thing in a different way to basically work for free until somebody for some reason decides to pick one over the other. So that means that you had five people, five implementations, which you only end up picking one, and then you pay that person the bounty. I think that's very unfair for the other people who are not getting picked because they've done the work anyway. But also, like, it's hard sometimes to put a bounty on something that's too big that will require many smaller steps. And are you going to be also paying those small steps? So let's say that you want to get to this very big feature, but you need many small improvements along the way. Like, are you going to be splitting that work? Maybe they start working on that, but something else happened. It's not as easy as it sounds. Like, and I think that there's already platforms where you can put a bounty for Godot stuff, and if somebody does it, you can pay them. That's something you can do. But the proper way that we feel like an open source project can deal with this is with something like the foundation, where people are donating to us to make those improvements into the engine by hiring people or working together with the community. So in that sense, there's many bounties that are getting paid by our priorities, our priority list, our contributors who get hired to work on the engine, and basically that's how the users are financing the project to stay alive. So I know it's not the same, and it's harder to see the connection between the money and the final feature, but it is happening already. um, I hope it makes sense. But yeah, should I use Node.js WebSocket server backend or Godot's backend class for my low latency browser game? Maybe I would recommend you to use JavaScript for both, for front end and back end, if you are familiar with that and you want to make a browser exclusive game. Um, at the moment, with how Godot is right now, it's quite heavy on the website side. So if you're trying to aim for publishing your game in popular websites like Poki or Crazy Games or things like that, you might find that people are not so patient in terms of waiting for your game to load and all that. So if you do something that's native for the web, it's the best that you can do. But on the backend itself, I honestly would go with Godot because I feel like it's gonna be easier to share code between the two and to have the same kind of mindset in both. But I'm not that experienced on making this. So yeah. And then use some streaming for bigger worlds and HDDAGI. So I replied on those on previous episodes of the Godot Tomorrow streams. You can see on the forum, but basically not right now. There aren't any plans or any news. It's something that hopefully will happen. Um, but yeah. Let's go now. Let's see. Yeah, want to go back a little bit because we're getting closer to the hour. Um, so this is the forum where I post the videos, and if you ask any question here, I will try to get it answered on a future stream. I'm gonna leave the link here. Um, yeah. So I always post the videos there and read any of the questions. But some little bit of change of pace because I wanted to celebrate one of the achievements and one soon to be another one. We're very close to 100K subscribers on Godot, the main YouTube channel, which is quite impressive. Uh, I I don't know when we're gonna get there, but hopefully we're gonna get soon. Something already happened that I missed to cover when it happened. I wasn't streaming yet, but it's the GitHub stars. So we already crossed the 100K stars on the main repository, and that's something that a lot of people were waiting for, and it happened. It's quite nice to see. There's like 102,000 stars so far. Uh, so yeah, this has been growing a lot, and it's quite nice to see. And at the moment, in the OS Insight, we are the biggest repository for like game engines. We see other engines that are quite popular, like Bevy, GDevelop, Raylib, and many others. RenPy, which is underrated, quite popular engine. But yeah, I just wanted to celebrate it because we might see in a future stream, I don't know when, maybe by the end of the year or maybe next year, that we get to this like Vasilius says, silver play button moment, which will be nice to have. And if in the future we get any sort of office like Blender does where we can show our achievements, it will be nice to hang on a wall. But yeah, and that's all I had at the moment for like the stream. So I'm happy to answer any other questions. And yeah, will you review my proposal on stream? Yes, why not? If it's a super long proposal, maybe not today, but if you have it there, send the link or let me know the number of the proposal and I can open it here. Following up on previous question, why make Godot heavy on the web? Why makes Godot heavy on the web? And it's still heavy if I use single thread for web export and that my program is coded entirely in C++ GD extension. So the problem is not that it's very heavy, which, that's something you can remedy with some other ways, but it's, the fact that it takes a long time to load. And the most important thing in a web game is the time it takes for you to get the first screen where you can interact with it. So the trick would be to set up your project in which you load the menu as fast as possible. You show the menu, and in the background you're loading the assets. So when they press on play, then you can send them to the game. But this is something that we are actively looking to improve. But I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's as good as it can be. So it's not that it doesn't work. If you see most of the game jams that happen on itch.io, there's a majority of games made with Godot that they all have the web export where people are sharing and playing, and it's quite successful already. But if you're making something commercial and you want something to be like very specialized, I would use something different until we get to that point. But yeah. How did you guys make the Godot engine? The story? Well, it's actually I did a video about it. If you look for, let me see. If you look for Godot documentary, let's see.
Y había un chat.
I made a video on my channel. If you look for it, you will find it. It has the creators, Juan and Ariel, and some other contributors. I think it gives a little overview of how the thing got made, when, why, and yeah, I would love to do something. Have you seen all those uh, programming videos, documentaries that are happening recently? There was one about Python not so long ago. I would love for like a proper team to make a good documentary about Godot and how it happened. This one was thrown together quite quickly, and it was actually the last video I made on my channel. But yeah, the story is also like quite complex. It might seem like it's a linear thing when you look at it from the outside, like a linear thing that like you create it, you publish it, and then everybody loves it. But there's a lot of things that happen in between, a lot of names, a lot of community members, a lot of developments that make the story very interesting. But I think it's a bit harder to tell just on a Q&A. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a proper documentary soon. Uh, let's see. Other engines have other engines start to have AI assistant integrated. Unreal Engine 5 and Unity 6. Will we see something about it anytime soon? Also, to code with GitHub Copilot inside the Godot interface, that'd be pretty nice. So I don't think we're gonna see anything like that soon because none of us are working on it and none of us are really interested in any of the AI assisted tools. So this is something that usually in these bigger companies they are exploring with, and what you have to understand about Godot is that we are not at the vanguard of making game engines. We are only using stuff that's already has been established. It's very trustworthy. It's very stable, very safe. So for anything that's groundbreaking, new flashy features, we are never gonna go in there because you might invest a lot of time and effort, and you might find that the feature was not really good, or that was not stable enough, or that's not really needed. But for the people who are into those sort of things, I know that there are plugins already that you can look for having something like Copilot in the Godot editor, or you can use VS Code or any external editor right now. But there's no plans for us to include AI in the Godot editor. What are the plans for 4.6? What area of improvements? So this is something that would still need to make a presentable version of it, but from what I can tell you and from the people that we've been hiring and all that, we want to improve the experience for people exporting to mobile. Like there's a lot of Android games and iOS games that are left to figure out all the other stuff that's not making the game. So all the SDKs and all those integrations that are very annoying. So we would like to see that improved for everyone, and the usability of the Android editor as well, which we've seen that there were a lot of people using it, and we are doing basically nothing to improve their lives. And the other part would be the web and C# area of things. The web is something I've been talking already here. It's something that we want to see improve, and there's other companies who are also considering to sponsor us so we can improve this. So hopefully if that happens, it will speed things up. And the other thing is C#. Right now, C# is something that you have to download in a different executable, and it's not so well integrated. So that hopefully in for 5.6 we're gonna have the new GD extension C#, and the web exports. If we can get those three main things, like the web, the phones, and the C# improvements, I think 4.6 will be like a success. Of course, we cannot neglect everything else. So there's everything else that's already included needs to get improvements. The community is also working in many other things. But for us internally, those are like the new things that we want to see done in 4.6. But yeah. Let's see, I have 5 more minutes. So let's see. While contributing to the engine, I struggle on knowing how to implement a change. I know exactly what to do, but I usually search for functions that would be requirement to implement it. What can I do? So I don't know if you've been here before, but we have this new, let me see, where is it? The new contributing documentation. So here it will tell you some resources that you can follow, but I would recommend, if you are already working on something and have a very specific question, you should join the Rocket chat, and here like the contribute engine code, and you can ask your questions there in the areas that you might need to, but only if you feel like you already hit a wall, because of course, there's many things you can figure out by reading some documentation online. But yeah, I hope that helps. Can you do something about the asset store items that have categories that they don't belong to? Okay, 78SW424A. I guess people just want their items to be seen more, but that just ruin the experiences for the users and make the filters useless. Are you talking about the new asset store or the asset library? Okay, then we get Share More saying, hi, anything to say about Toon Boom Jump with Godot, please? Thanks a million for this amazing software. No, I don't have anything to say about it. I haven't tried it myself. I know that the team that was working on it is quite motivated, and yeah, I hope to see more. So yeah, I don't have any more news. 4.6 C# extension, GD extension. I have not expected this early. So yes, it should be merged soon. It will be like an experimental version of it, so we actually get feedback from people. But yes, it will be for 4.6, the GD extension. What aspects needs the most contribution from the community at the moment? That's a good question. So from the community, we do see more tutorials being made right now. We do see like more of like the digital aspect of it. I think I would like to see, and this is my opinion, I haven't done any sort of like what would be the best way to contribute, but I would like to see more in-person events and things like that. There are starting to pop up more groups in different cities, but yeah, I would like to see more of that, because not everybody can travel to a GodotCon and meet other people that are working in Godot and stuff like that. But if there were more events in different cities, I think it would be nice. And for the contributions in the engine itself, I cannot complain. People are doing a lot of things that are amazing. Every time that you open GitHub, you see many PRs addressing a lot of things. So as long as the community still feels welcome to contribute, like they should continue to do what they're doing right now. I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah. Any plans to rewrite Godot to Rust? Yes, for Godot 5, we're gonna have full Rust Godot. You heard it here first. No, I don't think we're gonna do that. But that reminds me that there's a new tool that maybe I will talk about in the next stream that GDQuest made for formatting code in GDScript, which is done in Rust, which was interesting. See, final questions. Need to leave soon. The new stores, you say about the new asset store. Okay, so for the new stores, since we are still in beta, we are being a little bit more lenient in terms of what we allow people to do and not to do. So you will see that with the more the time progresses, the more we're gonna be more strict about which sort of tags we let people use, where, and we moderate it better. So for now, since we're still trying things out, we're not being so strict. But yeah, thank you for the feedback. Is it worth hitting you and the Godot team up to share what we're working on, particularly if we need to get pointed in the right direction to find Godot-friendly publishers? I don't know if I understand the question so much, Dan, but to share what you're working on depends. Like, why not? But usually we do monitor all social media, and we see what the most popular posts are on Reddit, Twitter, and all the other places, Blue Sky, our forums. So if your content is quite popular, somebody on the team will see it for sure. But if you need something in particular, maybe it depends. If you already have like a proper plan, maybe during the time when the Steam Deck got very popular, a lot of the publishers were not aware that Godot could export natively to Linux. And we got reached out by a couple of them, and we tried to also reach out to other publishers to let them know. But we're advocating for all the games, not for one game in particular. So I'm not sure if that really is what you were asking. Any chance we can get GDScript transpiled to C++? Would be nice. I think there are already projects doing that. I don't know if it's exactly what GDScript needs right now, but maybe someday we can get the GDScript team here to tell you about their plans for the future. Because that's something that they are discussing, of course, all the time. So yeah, as far as I know, it's not something that we are doing at the moment. But yeah, if you are looking for the transpiled code just to make it faster, I don't know how much faster it will be. Probably it's quite fast, but there's other ways that you can address that bottleneck at the moment. But yeah. Let's see. Godot's Rust is planned for Godot 25. Yes, exactly like Jill says. Jill is a very veteran member of the community, the one who actually saved you from having to deal with the old tile set, the tile map system. So you can really trust Jill's on this. All right. Well, I think I will leave it here. If you have any more questions, please leave them on the forum. I'm happy to read those and answer in the next stream, which will be on Wednesday at 5 p.m. in Europe. I should add the times in different time zones, sorry, but basically 1 hour before now in your time zone. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for being there. It was lovely to chat with you, and see you in the next one. Bye.